This is Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by soon-to-be British title challenger, at the very least, Matt Windle. Matt, how you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Not too bad, thank you. Yeah, it's fight week, so all excited, ready to go.
Good stuff, yeah. This weekend, obviously vying for the vacant British flyweight title against Tommy Frank. When you got your last win, obviously on Fight Zone against Neil McCubbin, who was unbeaten going in, did you have any inkling that it could lead to a British title shot should you have been successful?
Half of me thought that, especially that a phone call could come with something, because I know Tommy and Kyle have been sort of at loggerheads for this British title and should have met, and it's fallen through. I think one, Tommy's shoulder, and then COVID, and I think Kyle's been injured as well. So part of me thought, I could get a call for something, but I did light flyweight so comfortably that I really just I saw my immediate future at light flyweight. I certainly didn't think a couple of months down the line it would be me and Tommy for the British. Absolutely not.
What made you decide to focus on light flyweight? Because there isn't obviously a domestic championship that you can chase at that weight. It's obviously a lot more popular on the continent and in other countries as well. Why did you drop down?
It was just because I felt like I could do it. It was the weight that I felt I could do. I thought I'd read in an interview before that McCubbin also said that he could do light flyweight. And at the time, the light flyweight division was still being recognised by the Commonwealth. So I had to look on their website, and the Commonwealth title was vacant, and it was the only one out of all the divisions that was vacant. So I thought, I wonder if there's any way we could potentially get the Commonwealth title down at light flyweight, which is, of course, what was supposed to have been the case, but it ended up being an eliminator. But so yeah, we went into that with the belief that we were going to be fighting for the light flyweight Commonwealth title. So it was just the fact that it was the opportunity. But yeah, I did it. So I mean, you have to diet and train hard and sacrifice a lot and all the rest of it. So when I say I did it comfortably, it's not easy by any means. But I came in a pound under the limit, and I had a cup of tea the morning of the weigh-in and the night before the weigh-in. So there are a lot of fighters that are dry as a bone getting onto the scales. So having a bit of fluid in me as well, and still coming a pound under, shows you just how comfortably I made it. So yeah, it was just an opportunity that I thought we could explore. And then of course, once you do it the once and you fight well and you win and all the rest of it, it's strange. I don't understand it. It's a big jump, because from light flyweight to flyweight, it's 4 pounds, and then fly to superfly and superfly to bantam, it's only 3 pounds. So it's a really big difference. And then, like I say, I came in a pound under the limits. Then you're talking a 5 pound difference between what I was and the flyweight limit. So I am a light flyweight, but when an opportunity such as this presents itself, I'm not in boxing to turn down fights, and certainly not to turn down British title opportunities, especially when there's not a British title in the light flyweight division.
And I believe yourself and Tommy actually sparred before your most recent fights, obviously not knowing that this was on the cards.
Yeah, we were obviously he was fighting just the week after me, so we were both well in deep preparations for it. So it worked out really, really well for the two of us. Yeah, we went up to Sheffield and did a few rounds together, which was good and a good learning curve, and something that I took a lot from an educational point of view. And he's very seasoned, really. He's only had 13 fights himself, but he's had like championship fights and preparation and stuff. So it's something that I learned a great deal from, and it was fantastic to be in the ring with him, even just sparring. So I know come fight night, it's going to be a little bit surreal for me, really, as we start punching each other in the face, and then it just gets real.
How important do you think momentum is going into this? Because he went on to have that fight, which was a rematch with Guineros, which didn't go his way. That's 2 in a row he's lost to the same guy. You're probably coming into it after the best win of your career, arguably.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm full of confidence, and if you to give a fighter the option, you always want to come in it on momentum and off the back of winning. But I don't think it makes much difference at all, to be honest, because if you reverse it a couple of months ago, I was kind of the Tommy Frank going into the McCubbin fight, and
Sure.
it just showed that it didn't really make any difference. McCubbin had not lost, so I don't personally think it makes a great deal of difference. If anything, it makes things harder for me because Tommy's going to feel as though he absolutely has to, cannot afford to lose this. I mean, I wouldn't agree with that. The first Graneros fight was unfortunate. So he's coming off the back of two defeats, but when your first one was an injury and you have to be pulled out, you can't really class that as an official sort of loss, in your own mind. So he's coming off the back of a defeat to a really good opponent that's fought at world level against world champions. So I don't think the momentum is going to be a huge difference, to be honest. I think it's really just an interesting fight, a good competitive fight, one that Tommy will certainly be the favourite for. But like I say, I think it's the opportunities that you don't take that you end up regretting. So I didn't turn pro with the British Boxing Board of Control to say no to British title fights. So I'm just trying to make the most of the opportunity.
Do you have a preference between going into a fight as the favourite or the underdog?
I quite like being the underdog. Yeah, do like being the underdog. I like being the away fighter and stuff as well. I know obviously McCubbin's from Scotland, but him and the Kinnocks and Hobson and stuff
Yeah.
have got that promotion deal. So I did, although you couldn't necessarily say McCubbin was the home fighter, I certainly wasn't a home fighter either going into the last fight. So yeah, but I don't really mind, in all honesty. I mean, when you get in the ring, it's just you and your opponent and the referee, and you could be in the back garden or Madison Square Garden. You're fighting at the end of the day, so that doesn't massively matter to me. But I do like I do like traveling and having a bit of a hostile crowd against me.
What do you make of Tommy style-wise? I know you only shared like 8 rounds or whatever it was, but I'm sure you've watched plenty of him as well. What do you make of him?
I think he's a quality boxer. Sometimes I'm envious when I watch people like Tommy or Sonny, or people that can box and move and go around and a whole fight sometimes without getting punched, and make their opponents miss and be slipping and dodging. Like I say, I'm quite envious of it. And he's big for the weight as well, so it makes sense for him to box the way he does, try and keep it rangy and box behind his jab and sort of be flicky and fancy. So yeah, I really, I think, enjoy watching it. I think it's because it's such a contrast to the way I fight, and I know how difficult it is to hit and not be hit and box and move and stuff. So I really appreciate the art form of it.
And does that put even more pressure on you? I mean, you probably don't need any encouragement to do so, but put more pressure on you to make the fight, to be the one coming forward, the aggressor?
Potentially, but I never anytime that I am the boxer coming forward and trying to force the fight, as it were. I never do that through feeling as though it's something that I have to do. It's just kind of the way that I like to fight, and the way I've been ingrained to fight as well. Because when I was an amateur, and I boxed heavy early on in my amateur before you start to understand weights and what you should be and losing weight and all the rest of it. So, I've boxed lads of over 9 stone in the amateurs. You can imagine how much bigger than me they were, because
Yeah.
the flyweights are quite a lot bigger than me. So it was a case of I was fighting lads that were so big that if I didn't come forward, I was never going to be able to get it. So as I've gone into the pros, and I've fought people like Al Fadley and Blackshaw and even Ejaz to an extent, and McCubbin in the last fight, and they're lads that are more my stature. When they've been coming at me, coming forward, I've then been able to get on the back foot and demonstrate my boxing abilities as well, because I can box. It's just with my stature, so many times I'm not able to do that. But I do have a feeling that Tommy's also going to try and put it on me as well. So although I don't think I'll be able to run off and get behind a flicky jab at any stage. I don't think Tommy's going to do a repeat of the Guarneros fight for the entirety of the fight. I could be wrong. I've got no idea. It's just a hunch.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's kind of kicking himself a little bit that he didn't push on against Guarneros, certainly in the second fight. So, I'd be surprised if he stayed on the back foot for the whole 12 rounds.
Yeah, me too. So, so that then opens up for an exciting fight because, of course, one of the times that you could be difficult to hit is when you're not throwing many punches, which is why journeymen manage to box week in, week out, because they go in there, they cover up, they don't throw too much, but it also means that they don't take too much punishment as well. So if Tommy just thinks that he can come forward and throw lots of punches and bully me, and sort of that's going to be it. Not necessarily, because like I say, if he does want to stand there and be in front of me, that's when I'm going to be able to get my punches off as well. So then it can potentially make for fireworks.
And the British title itself, when you were coming into the sport, going through the amateurs and so on, what was your kind of awareness and view of the British title? Was there any fighters you associated it with? Was it something you coveted?
Yeah, the British title is sort of is the one, really. I know, of course, the world title is, it's the world, but the British title for me was the title. I used to watch Friday Fight Night every single week religiously growing up, like from like 2005 or so onwards, and they always seem to have, like, again, I didn't really understand weights back then, but looking back now, they always seem to have lighter weights on there, the likes of Jason Boots, Michael Hunter, even Rendell Monroe, Ian Napa, Shinny Bayar, Chris Edwards, Paul Edwards. And there was always some of the lighter, Don Broadhurst, there was always lighter guys on the Friday Fight Nights, topping the bill for British
Big
Commonwealth
Haskins.
and Battle Haskins, so there was some really, I remember watching Ian Napa and, being all slick and smaller than me, do you know what I mean? And it was a really interesting time to be involved. And like I say, there was always British Commonwealth or European titles on the line. But me, even just because I like belts, that it's one of the things that got me interested in boxing. And the British title is just the most beautiful belt going. So for me, any kind of dream that I ever had of being a champion, as crazy as it sounds, it wasn't even necessarily like a world champion. It was always British title that I imagined.
And presumably, should you be successful at the weekend, you'll stay at flyweight then. Whether you can, secure the Lonsdale belt outright or not, it's quite difficult because of the lack of other flyweights in the country. But would you then stay at that weight rather than looking at light fly again?
Yeah, well, we know who the mandatory and stuff is straight away. So the winner has got a mandatory that we have to face. So then if you come through that one, you're only looking at another two opponents. Then I don't think, to be honest, especially if I have it, I don't think it will be that difficult to defend. It's one thing when one of the Edwards brothers or Selby or someone like that has the British title, because I think a lot of fighters look at it and say, especially for the likes of Selby, and they say something like, well, Andrew Selby's at world level, he's a world title opponent, why am I going to fight Selby for British title wages when we could just wait for it to become vacant, and then I'll potentially fight for a vacant British title? I think that's how people think about it when the likes of Edwards and Selby and them have the title. When I get the British title, I think there might be a few bantamweights going, could I make flyweight? Could I do it?
I'll chop a leg off.
Yeah, I think there'll be a few people that will be queuing up to try and get a chance at the British title should I get it. So to be fair, I don't think defending it and finding three opponents to do it with would be too difficult, in all fairness. But equally, I wouldn't just be completely shutting the door to the light flyweight division either. I'd be seeing what opportunities still present themselves. And I like to be active. This is my second 12 rounder now in a couple of months. As long as we come through this fight without any injuries or anything, I'd like to be out again before Christmas. So then you'd be looking at potentially 3 12-round fights within the space of 5-6 months, and then moving on to next year, I'd be looking to repeat that, especially after 2020 when you weren't fighting. And it's the first time since 2005 that I went a whole year without a fight. So definitely trying to make up for lost time. And I'll be 31 at the end of the month, so I'm getting old for a flyweight and stuff now. And I just love being active and love fighting and love long round 10 12-round fights. So yeah, I'm happy just to stay active and keep busy.
As well as being a talented boxer, you're of course an accomplished poet. Have you got anything in mind for if you are successful at the weekend? Have you got a poem in store?
No, I try not to curse it or anything, but I think like that. I was doing some filming with Fight Zone the other day, and they said, "Oh, do you think you could just do a little freestyle preview about it?" And I said, "Right, okay." So we said, "Right, so we'll say something about me and Tommy Frank." And then they said, "Say something that your style's exciting." So I was like, "Okay, something about an exciting style," and they can watch it on Fight Zone. And then we just managed to kind of make up sort of 6 lines on the spot about it. So I'm sure with the adrenaline and everything going as well, should I have that British title over my shoulder or around my waist, I'll be able to just flick up a few lines on the cuff.
All right, well, we'll look forward to that then. Really appreciate your time. Very best of luck for the fight, and hopefully we can catch up again afterwards.
Absolutely, mate. I really appreciate it, and